Yeah! And be free! You look back at the season from hell that the Fever had. None of us expected them to be in this situation. None of us expected them to be winning a very close game.
Okay, check this out. Caitlin Clark just shut down every critic and flipped the narrative overnight. A Fever insider has confirmed she's 100% recovered from that groin injury. And Clark herself just made it official she's suiting up for the WNBA Finals. That's right, the Indiana Fever aren't just in the finals. They're going in with their superstar back on the court. This is a total game changer that puts the entire league on high alert. But here's the real dilemma. If you were Indiana's coach, would you take the risk of playing Clark in the finals, or would you hold back to protect her long-term career?
When she does come back, do you feel like...
I would not want to play the Indiana Fever, especially with a healthy Caitlin. I mean, that building, I got a little taste of it last year. And doing the Final Four, shows when she's on the court, when someone can really change the game in a couple moments like she could be quiet for 10 minutes and then pop, pop, pop. It's 4 threes and the game's out of reach. And I think what the Fever are doing without her, that's going to help them in the future too, knowing that they can win a game when she's not on the court or she's not, at her best. So yeah, that Fever team, I would not want to play them with a healthy Caitlin.
The Indiana Fever weren't supposed to be anywhere near this stage. Not this year. Not with a roster full of youth, nagging injuries, and a mountain of doubt from analysts who said they needed a few years before they'd even sniff a deep playoff run. And when Caitlin Clark went down with that groin injury, the so-called experts didn't just lower expectations, they buried them. But the Fever clearly never got the memo. Aaliyah Boston started owning the paint like it was South Carolina all over again. Kelsey Money Mitchell hit dagger after dagger when everything was on the line. Odyssey Sims brought veteran calm and pure grit, doing all the little things that shift playoff series. Piece by piece, they clawed their way through the toughest stretch of their season. And now, not only are the Fever in the WNBA Finals, a story in itself, but Caitlin Clark just confirmed she's suiting up. Let that sink in. The same player everyone swore was done for the year is back on the court for the finals. It's the ultimate plot twist. And now every analyst who closed the book on Indiana is scrambling to rewrite their script. And the same haters who literally laughed when she limped off the court now have to watch her come back on the league's biggest stage. Clark didn't just return. She returned in the moment where it matters most. And trust me, this is more than just a storyline. It's a full-blown power shift. Because Clark's presence instantly transforms Indiana. Before she was hurt, the Fever weren't just competing. They were drawing record ratings, selling out arenas, and forcing every single opponent to game plan completely differently. Her shooting stretches defenses out to the parking lot. Her vision opens up insane lanes for Boston and Mitch. And her leadership raises the confidence of absolutely everyone wearing that Fever jersey. And now all of that is back. Let's not sugarcoat it. The haters are rattled. For months they've been chirping about how the league is bigger than Clark, how she can't handle the physicality, how she's not ready for the playoffs, and they were absolutely giddy when she went down. But now they're in shock because Clark didn't just return. She confirmed she's suiting up in the final. That's like dropping a live grenade into the middle of every rival fan base's living room. And the timing couldn't be worse for Vegas or New York, the two so-called super teams. They were already sweating after Indiana bulldozed their way through the playoffs without Clark. And now they have to face a Fever squad that's not only fearless, but suddenly reloaded with a very player who completely changes the geometry of the game. See, it's not just about what Clark does on the stat sheet. Even if she's at 80%, her gravity shifts everything. Defenses can't ignore her. They can't collapse on Boston without paying the price. And they can't send extra help on Mitchell without leaving Clark wide open. Every single possession becomes a nightmare of choices. And honestly, none of those choices are good. And just think about the psychological hit this delivers to those so-called powerhouses.
Walks there to the stanchion.
Now, of course, there are risks involved here. Nobody's pretending groin injuries are easy. They linger. They flare up. They absolutely test your conditioning. The Fever are definitely playing with fire by bringing her back, and they know it. But here's the thing. Even a limited Clark still commands insane respect. You could literally put her on one leg and teams would still guard her 25 feet from the basket. And that kind of presence alone is totally worth the gamble. And make no mistake, this isn't just Indiana's decision. You better believe the league office has fingerprints all over this. Because the WNBA isn't blind. They know Clark's presence in the finals means eyeballs, revenue, and relevance like they've simply never had before. This isn't just basketball. Straight up business. And from a business standpoint, Clark coming back is pure gold. Fans feel that too. Social media is already absolutely exploding. Clips of Clark practicing are racking up millions of views. And the announcement of her return got more traction than half the league's playoff games combined. Love her or hate her, everyone is talking about Caitlin Clark. And for a league desperate to keep the national conversation alive, that's priceless. But let's not let the league completely off the hook either. The fact that praising Clark has gotten other coaches cited or even allegedly cost jobs tells you everything you need to know about the fragile egos floating around. Clark is bigger than the WNBA right now, and that makes some people seriously uncomfortable. So, her return in the finals, that doesn't just spotlight her, it exposes the league's insecurities all over again. Still, the Fever don't care about politics, they care about winning. And with Clark back, their ceiling just went completely through the roof. Aaliyah Boston has more room to dominate inside. Mitchell can play freer on the perimeter. Sims doesn't have to carry as heavy a load. And even role players like Sophie Cunningham suddenly become more dangerous because defenses simply can't cover everyone. This is precisely why opponents are terrified. The Fever already proved they could scrap and claw their way to the finals without Clark. And now they're adding back the most impactful player in women's basketball. That's not just scary, that's unfair. And the haters, they are officially out of excuses. For months, they said Clark was overhyped, that she couldn't back it up against pros. But well, here she is suiting up for the finals in her second year. Not limping in through the back door, not riding the bench as a cheerleader, but playing, competing, and completely changing the entire dynamic of the series. It's almost poetic. The same people who spent the season downplaying her impact now have to watch her step right back into the spotlight on the grandest stage. The receipts are endless, and Fever fans are more than happy to pull them out. The real shock here isn't just that Caitlin Clark is coming back. It's how perfectly timed this strategic move is. Finals basketball isn't about regular season stats or pretty plays. It's about making the moment bigger than your opponent can handle. And let's be real, Clark has lived in the spotlight since Iowa. Crowds, pressure, cameras. It's just Tuesday for her. When you add someone with that kind of poise into the finals, you're not just adding a shooter or a passer. You're adding pure gravity. Every defender has to glance at her. Every coach has to scheme for her. And every fan has to react to her. That changes the environment before she even touches the ball. Vegas and New York, they just went from confident to paranoid overnight. Think about what this means for Indiana's core. Aaliyah Boston, who's already bullying defenses on the block, now gets more single coverage. No more constant double teams. Kelsey Mitchell can actually breathe on the perimeter instead of being trapped every other possession. And Odyssey Sims, she can spend less energy creating and more energy disrupting. That's what Clark's presence truly unlocks. Now, this isn't to say she'll play 35 minutes and drop 40 points. Nobody's expecting that. But what matters is that even 20 minutes of Clark shifts the math. Even just standing in the corner, she changes how defenses rotate. And that's why her return feels like a plot twist written for television, because it basically is. The WNBA is salivating right now. Finals without Clark, a solid storyline. Finals with Clark, a national event. Broadcasters are already prepping the graphics. Networks are clearing primetime slots. And casual fans who haven't watched a single regular season game are about to tune in just to see what happens. And that, my friends, is the part that burns the haters most. Her return is bigger than them. The excuses are already loading up online. She's overrated. She won't be at full speed. Indiana will ruin chemistry by forcing her back in. But here's the thing. Those excuses don't matter when the scoreboard lights up. If Clark makes even a handful of impact plays in the finals, the entire conversation flips. Suddenly, the same critics are forced to explain how the overrated player just helped Indiana compete with the league's absolute best. But here's the other side of the coin. Let's be blunt. If Clark comes back and looks rusty, the critics will absolutely pounce. If she re-injures herself, the narrative will be ruthless. That's why this move takes serious guts. Indiana could have played it safe, protected her for next year, and nobody would have blamed them. But instead they chose belief over caution. That decision says everything about how far this franchise has come. Because remember, not long ago, the Fever were the league's punchline. 5 wins in a season, empty seats, lottery picks wasted. That team is gone. This team is fearless, bold, and not afraid to gamble on great. Bringing Clark back isn't desperation. It's pure confidence. They believe they belong here, and they believe Clark makes them unstoppable. And honestly, they might be right. Look at Vegas. They've been exposed more than once this postseason. Look at New York. They're still figuring out chemistry with all those stars. Neither one of them looks invincible. Add Clark into Indiana's fight, and suddenly those super teams don't look so super anymore. Now let's talk legacy. If Clark steps onto that finals court, even if she doesn't dominate, her return alone becomes one of the most iconic moments in league history. Think about it. Year 2, already fighting through injuries, already carrying a franchise, and now making a dramatic comeback on the biggest stage. That's the stuff of legend. Fans will remember it. Kids will copy it. And the league will never live it down. And here's the kicker. Clark didn't even need this for her reputation. She was already the face of the league. She was already selling jerseys and breaking ratings records. Coming back in the finals isn't about marketing. It's about sending a message. She's not just here for hype. She's here to compete, to win, to rewrite the script of a franchise everyone counted out. That's why the haters are in shock, because the comeback they swore wouldn't happen is happening right in front of them. And there's absolutely nothing they can do about it.